Sorry, I'm just waiting to make sure that this is resumed. Okay. So we're recording now. So say for example, you have a backup file, which is what I was going to send you before I found the script. What you need to do, first of all, is when you get that file, you copy that file. Let me see if I have any backup file here. Let me bring my download. Okay, I don't have any backup file, but normally your backup file will be somewhere around here. It will come into here. If you download it, it's going to come here. And then what you do is you copy that, and your backup file is going to come with the extension of .bak, which stands for backup. And then you copy that file. And once you copy that file, you come back in here again. Let's go Explorer. I'll bring that into your view here. I guess you can see this. Okay, yes, you can see that. So what you do is you come into this PC, you go to your C drive, and then you go to this folder on your C drive, program files. You double click on that, and then you look for SQL Server. This is where the file has your SQL server has been installed, and that is mine here. You can see that. I double click on that, and then I need to find out the instance of my database where I want to do the restore on. And in this case, this is you see this one, you see it says SMAS. That is a different application, and that is Microsoft Analysis Services. Okay, that's a Microsoft Analysis Services. In my case, I want Microsoft SQL Server, which is the one we're working on, and this is this one. So I click on that, it comes to MSQL again, and then I look for this, which is the backup folder. I double click on that, and then you can see this. This is a file I was going to send to you. Okay, this is my backup file, and I can restore this file. Say, for example, let's do a restore, then you can see. So what I would now do is just paste that copy, which I've taken, and I paste it here, right click and paste. Okay, right click and paste, or you can do Control V to paste. Okay, so now I have my backup file here, and I'm going to step out of here. So what I will do next is come to my SSMS, right? And I will come here and I'll do, you can see here, it says restore database, right? It says restore database. I click on restore database, and it brings me back. It says there is no backup file, but I know there is one there. So I change it from database to device because I have it in. I'm not, if I wanted to do it directly from database to database without having to use the backup file, then I would do this. But in this case, I'm not doing that. I'm just restoring a backup file. So I click on that, and then I click on this ellipsis here, and then it's still files. Then I click on add, and then you see the backup file folder, which I showed you earlier. It brought it to 4. So, and if you remember here, let me see if I can bring that again to you to see. You can see here all this, and you see this one is not showing in my list here. In my list here, it's not showing. And the reason why it's not showing is that this is a file, but you can see the other ones that's got the BAK extension. It's telling me that they are backup files. They are backup files, but this is just an ordinary file. So you see BAK stands for backup. So it says a backup file, which it does recognize. But this one, it does not recognize it, okay? Because it's just a file. There's no extension but after it. So I just click on the one I want to restore. I click on that, highlight it, and then click OK. And then it's telling me that this is the path, which is this is just going back to this path. It's going back from here back to here to select this one. That's what that is doing. And then what I have to do again is very important. I have to highlight that, yes, this is the file I want. And then I highlight it this way and I click OK. And you can see now it's ready for me to restore. And because I already have a database, which is SOM, I can change the name here. So let me change the name here. This is the name of the file that was backed up. That is why it's still there. And you can see the date when it was backed up. That's the date when it was backed up. And then I can now say, okay, Northwind, let me call it, I'll just call it 2025. Okay. And that's all I really have to do here. You can still go through here, which is just telling me which is what I explained to you last week. The data folder and then the log folder. Okay. And that's all I need to do. And then I click OK. And because it's not a big file, it says straight, it's been restored successfully. And I click OK, and that's it. And that's the database already here. And then I can begin to use it. I can begin to use it. Okay. So, and then, say for example, you want to take a backup copy. It's also very easy. Let me stop this. Refresh because it has that coming, or it's put that on hold. Okay, no worries. So if I want to back up a file, all I have to do is right click the file the database I want to back up. And you see here it says task, and then you can see backup, and then I click on backup. And that's the name. I can change the name. Okay, I can change the name here, but this place where I'm backing it up to, you can back it up to a URL, which is you're backing it to another external location, which you have access to, or you can back it up to disk, which is on your local machine here. And once you've done that, select the mode, which you don't have to worry, just do a full, but then you can select different modes. Okay, and here, if you're backing up to an which we don't really do anymore, which you're backing up to a disk, then you can select how you want to back it up. But here also by default, you say append if there is a database in that name that's already been backed up, and it would either tell you to append there is current backup to that one, or you want to overwrite what already exists. So in this case, we're just going to go with the default. And then we can say that, and you can say backup. And okay, let me see what name it is. Just the Northwind. Okay, yeah. Then I can click on. And then here, if I want to change or do any other thing, I can do whatever you want here, but doesn't matter. Just here, just do the bare basics. And then click on okay, what's wrong? Backup cannot be backup. Why? Okay, because it is originally formatted. Okay, yeah, there's an issue with that one. So, but that is just the way to go about it. Okay, that's just the way to go about it. I don't want to do this one because it's restoring and I will need it very shortly. If it doesn't work, then I'll, okay, I already have this. So, no, let's see if I can back up this one. I'm not changing the name, I'm not changing anything. I just click on OK. Okay, that's been backed up. So if I come back to my folder here, we should see that backup file. You can see that now. Straight away, it's backup and it's brought it here. And if I need to share this with anybody, what I have to do is just come in here, copy it, and then share it with that person. But then, mind you, if you take away the .bak, then the file becomes useless. It will not be useful again. That is one. And when you are sending this type of file via especially WhatsApp, or even normal email, they'll come back and say this is a could be a threat. So what happens in that case, it will tell you that, oh, it will not be able to send it. But then the way sometimes I bypass that, though sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does work, is that I will just change the BAK and put it to something else, and then when it gets to the destination, I'll change it back to BAK. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So that's why I didn't want to do that this time around. Okay. All right. Any questions on that one before I proceed?
Sorry, I didn't get why we normally do backup. Um, I know it may seem simple,
Like
but
if I did not, if for me to share it with you, the same database, right,
yeah.
on your local machine, then I need
Mm-hmm.
to back it up and send it to you. That's the only way I can give it to you. If I do not
Okay.
have the script which I executed last week,
So in a work setting,
you won't be doing that.
okay, that'll be the
You will be
DAB.
do you will yeah, it's going to be the DBA. But if your organization did not have a DBA and that role partially falls on you, then you will have to do it.
Okay.
I have done it in organizations before where we don't have DBA. So
So the aim of backup is to make sure that in case anything happens to the original
yep.
um
Yeah, and
document,
then organizations always take a backup of their business databases every day in case something happens.
is it automatically set to be
It
done?
depends. No, it's not automatically. Yeah, you can automatically set it, and then you can manually do it as well.
Is it Python that will show you how to
No,
automate?
that's not. It's not even. It doesn't even have to do. It doesn't even get to Python at all.
Okay, it's a way. Okay.
Yes, these days you might use some automation process to do that, but you can also use the normal. You can schedule it, which is we
Okay.
have what is called which is another software in SQL Server, which we're not going into, and it's called SSIS, and then I can use SSIS to actually create a backup process, and then I can schedule that to run at any particular time or day which I want.
That's integrated services.
Yes, SQL Server
Okay.
integration services. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Moving on from there now. Um, we I'm going above this. We've done aliases. I want to quickly dive into what is called joins. Joins. Okay. Look at this statement here. Okay, before I go into joins, let me do concatenation. You see, there are times when you need to join two columns together to form a column. So meaning that you are deriving a new column from one or two columns. Say, for example, in the case or in our case here, we have select, let's do a select from, sorry, I'm on the wrong database. And I'm using season 19. Okay. Okay. For example, here I have all this, but you can see here, I have the company name and I have the company title. And I want to say there is a need for me to join these two names together, right? Or these two columns together. I want that and that. And what you need to do is what we call concatenation. Though it's been made much easier than this these days. Okay. So the first thing you do is you select your column and then you use the plus sign. You give it some space. If you want to separate it by comma or you want to separate it by pipe or you want to separate it by a dot, whatever you want to separate it by, then you put that also in a open and close quote. And the reason you put that in an open and close because this is regarded as string character. Okay, and then you now do another plus sign to join the second column to it. Okay, here I'm joining more than one column. I'm joining the address plus the city, and then I'm joining it plus the postcode, and I'm also joining it plus the country. So meaning that I'm joining this, this and this together.
Sorry, sir, there's some people waiting to be added.
Oh, thank you so much. Let me bring down here. Thank you. All right. So for us to do that, you can see what I've done. The script is so simple, and then when I execute this, and you can see how to join them together. Right? So this is concatenation. But let me see if this is going to work here. Let's do another one. There is a keyword in SQL now, which is called concat. You can see it's brought it straight for me. And I'm going to use concat. And I'm going to open my bracket, which is not saying here, if you see here, say concat expression, expression, expression. So my first expression will be this one, and then separated by comma, right? And then this one. Okay, and then I can close that. And it's going to come from here. Let me do this. They're coming from here. And the name is, I want to assign this name to it. Oh, sorry. Okay, and I want to do the next one. And do concat. I'll just copy everything and then I'll clean it up. So I'm joining that. Oops. Okay. And you can see, but you can now see that this is different from what we have up here. Let me run the two together. You can see this is separated by comma. So for me to get that in, I need to do the same thing, which is just taking this and including that in there. So I can do that. And comma. Leave some space. I can do it that. Okay, and then it should be able to. And then you can see, if I want more space between them, where I can add more space is here. Let me put in a bit of more spaces, and you can see the effect. And you can see, creates that gap. So the more space you want, then you need to take that into consideration here. So instead of you having to think, okay, where do I put my plus sign and other stuff like that, just do the keyword concatenate. This concatenate is actually a function that has actually been created that you just passing in what is needed. You don't have to write it out this way. Okay. And the possibility of you using this is very high. You will use it because there are times when you see banks or even all the retailers and all this stuff sending you a mail, email, or even post where you have your name printed out. This is they could just go into the table and they create a concatenate statement and then use that to generate the postage label. Okay. Now, quickly moving on is what we call, I want to find out, if you remember here in my customer table, I have my customers and I also have my orders table. I also have my orders table. So if I execute the two together, you can see here I have all the details of my customers, but I also now need to find out what purchases has my customer made. And I have this information sat in more than two tables, really, more than two tables. So how do I get this information? And that is what brings us to what the function we're going to be looking at, which is the join. We have a few types of join. We have the inner join. It says joins are used in SQL query to link records from two tables on a common, using the common unique key. In this case, probably your primary key and your foreign key. Okay. But sometimes it does not necessarily have to be your primary key or your foreign key. Sometimes it could be different kind of keys. Okay. And then it says usually we use a combination of primary and foreign key to link tables. So in this database, and sorry, in this example we're looking at, we have the customer ID, which is our primary key in the customer table. But then we also have the foreign. We now have that primary key from that table as a foreign key in our orders table, which is the foreign key customer ID in the orders table. So this has created a relationship between the customer and the orders. So if you want to get information from about the customer's purchases from the orders table, it's very simple by us just joining the two tables using these keys. All right. But then we have different types of joins. Number one, which is the most used, is the inner join. Inner join. It says inner join returns records that are matching, that have matching value in both tables. It returns records that have matching values in both tables. And then we have the left join, which is also very much used. It says it returns all records from the left table and the match record from the right table. It says all records from the left table and the matching records from the right table. All records from the left with matching on the right. It's not returning everything on the right. It's only returning everything that is a match, that has a match to the left table. But the left is going to return everything. Either there is a match on the right or not. Okay. And then the right outer also returns all records from the right, all records from the right, and the matched record from the left. Only the match record from the left, which is just the opposites of, they're just opposite of each other. And then we have the full outer join, returns all records when there, even if there is, when there is a match in either left or right. Okay, let me show you. I don't know if all of us are familiar with this when we did maths in school. I think these days they do it in secondary school now. But you remember the set theory. The set theory let me see. I've looked for the diagram to present to you. I guess you're seeing this now. This is the Venn diagram. And you can see when we're talking about the inner join, it says this one here, the first one is inner join. And it is only return, it says select all rows from both tables where there is a join. The blue area is where there is a join, where there's commonality between the two of them. Okay, customer table is the one on the left here, and orders table is the one on the right here, and we're joining on the customer ID. So the one in the middle is the ones where in the customer table, the customer ID from both tables are present. The customers that have not made any purchase or made any order will not be in the orders table, so they will not be part of this. And if peradventure there is an order that has not been assigned to a customer in the orders table, meaning that the customer ID may not be present in the customer table, then it will not appear here also. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate that to you shortly. And then we have the left join. The left join is, it says, remember what it says there? It says all records from the left. It selects all records from the left. So it's returning back everything from the left table and the match record from the right. So meaning that where there is a join, the customer ID is present here and is also present here. But the customer ID here, all the customer ID here may or may not be present in the orders table. And the reverse is also for the right join as well. That's the reverse for the right join. Okay? That's the reverse for the right join. It's just the reverse of the left. Which table do you put in first? And here you can see here, how do you know which table is on the left, which table is on the right? Look at that here. It says select A dot first name, A dot city, B dot state from T people. A. So meaning that this table is our A table, inner join to B, which is our left table. And this one is a match. But here, you're also seeing here, our people's table is our A, is alias as A, which is this table. So it's going to return back everything from here, but only when there's a match here. So this is our B table. So you can see here, when it is left join, you see left join to, you're coming from here to here. That is why it says left join. You're coming from here to here. You're coming from here to here. A left join to the right table. Left join to the right table. And then you look at here, our right, you see here, it says right join to. So it's coming from here, our right to the left. Okay? It's coming from the right to the left. But like I said, the two that you will commonly use, most commonly used are the inner join and the left join. Not even the left outer join, it's inner join or the left join. Though once in a while you may use the right join depending if you have used that same table as a left join previously, and then in the next row you want to use it again, you can use it, then you can interchange it to a right join to another table. Okay, and then you have this exclude, which is, it says select all rows from A plus data where there is no match in B, which is just the same thing as the reverse of this, or even this. You can see that, right? But you don't have to worry about all those ones. The next one you can worry about is the full join, which is just returning back everything from both tables. Either there is a match here or there's no match here, it's just returning back. You're just joining the two tables together. You're going to have blanks. Okay, and then the same thing, you're bringing out the full outer join, which is just going to be, it will exclude, more like the full outer join is more like the inner join. Okay, and then you have the cross join. The cross join is used majorly when you are joining what if there's a an entity called a stored procedure, where you're actually doing using a stored procedure, which we may not be getting into. All right. So let's try the inner join. I'm saying here, you can see the reason why we did aliasing now, because if I wanted to write this out a normal way, I have to put the name of the column in there, because I'm joining it, I'm extracting data from more than one table. So the engine will want to know, okay, this column, which table is it coming from? But if I to be just one table I'm extracting data from, then it knows that there's no third party. This one is just that table. But when you are joining more than one table together, then you have to specify. And sometimes the name of a table may be longer than this, very long, very long. And if the name of the table is very long, what happens? You have to qualify it completely. So if I want to do this correctly without using the alias, I have to specify it this way. Okay. I think it's others. Okay. That's the name of my table, and that's the column name from my table. Okay. That's the column name for my table. This is how I should, but instead of me having to write it out full hand this way, I can just use the alias. I can just use the alias. Okay. So you can see I'm getting the order ID from the orders table, and I'm getting the company name, which is my customer. I'm getting it from the customer table, which is C here. And now you can see I'm saying inner join. I now have to specify how it is going to join to the other table. So in this case, I'm saying select order ID from orders table, company name from customer table, right? From customer table. So I say select this from customer table, sorry, from orders table, which is now my left table. Okay, but this case, because I'm using an inner join, I'm just joining the two together. I'm saying orders table or inner join customer, right? Alias is a C, and then I'm saying on customer ID, which is present in the orders table, equals customer table, customer ID from the customer table. It has to be equal. You're joining them together. That is why I said when there is a match. Where there is a match. So if I execute this, and you can see here, that's the order ID, and that's the name of the customer. So you know the customer that owns that customer ID. Sorry, that holds that order ID. Okay. And then I want to do the same thing on the left table for using the left join rather. Now I'm selecting the customer ID, the order ID, right? And then I'm just for us to see that there's a match. Okay, so I'm saying from customer, left join to the customer to the orders table. I'm using a left join now. So I'm joining the customer to the it's almost the same, but then you can see this matches this matches this, this one is from, the first one is from orders table, and this is from customer table. But we should see, I think our data is near perfect. Yes, our data is near perfect. There's no blank. Okay, let me see in this. Oh, let me see if I have in here. Oh. Okay, no, I'm not doing this. Okay, Muhammadu Buhari is there, and in our orders table, what's his ID? If I switch, let me switch to this database, and then we can see that from here. I think I've created that ambiguity. So I've switched to that database and doing it for the left join. Now you can see I have this customer present in the customer table. I have these customers present, but these customers have not made any orders. And that is why you do not see any order ID here. And that is how left join works. It has returned back to me all the records from my left table, which is my customer, which is this one, because I'm left joining to this one. So this is my left table, right? From my left table, so it returns back everything, but these 4 are not present in my orders table. These 4 are not present in my orders table, and that is why they are blanks. The same thing if I run this on it will return back, there won't be. What this has done, this has excluded those 4. Let me do the same thing which I did here. Okay, let's bring in the customer ID so that we can see. I had that to this. And then I do the same thing for the orders table. Okay, so if I execute this, the two together, I want you to see the difference. You can see here, this one, the top one, which is the orders table, is left joining to the what? To the customer. And there won't be anything. All is joined together because the customer table has customers that have not made any and that have not placed any order. So that is why. But then you look at this second one, which is the customer, and this is now my customer, and this is the orders table. The orders table did not have these 4 customers. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I do have a question, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just a bit curious about the way the names have been spelled in terms of the customer ID and the customer ID. So do we have different tables that have customer ID spelled this way or customer ID spelled the other way? Or we're just
How
using
how do you mean? They're not spelled differently?
Okay, so basically the one in front is saying customer ID and the ID is in small caps.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I said to you, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's you see, the engine is not well.
Okay.
When I was doing if you go back, when I was creating my database the other day, I did say when we're selecting what is called our collation, right? We selected the default, and our default is one which the Latin, which is case insensitive. And if it is case insensitive, you can do a mix of upper and lower cases. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that doesn't matter. But in situations where your collation is case sensitive, then you always have to follow that case sensitivity. Okay.
Okay, so I think where my confusion was so we're trying to get customers with the IDs that have made orders based on the results we have down here. And this one says the customer ID hasn't made any orders. So I think that's where my confusion was. So I was wondering if we have different tables that has
I
customer.
have explained here earlier. Sorry. Oh, where is that? Yeah, here. This is our orders table. And our orders table has our customer ID, meaning that there is a relationship between this orders table and our customer table. Because this this customer ID is coming from the customer table. Okay. And then also this is also linked to our employee table because this is coming from the employees table. And this is our date. So if we have a date calendar, which we'll be having when we are creating our Power BI, I'll give you the script for the date table. You will link back to your date table on the order date or required date or the shipped date, because we use that for calculation as well. But then this one, the VAR, is linked back to our shipper. That is our shipper ID. They just use shipware, but that's the shipper ID. So the company that ships this, which is the freight company, is called the shipper, and this is linked back to that table. Okay, so now because this orders table it's got a relationship with all of these uh, entities, which is our customer, our employee, our shipper, and even date, then we can join the two tables together to get instead of we have a full um, data set that actually describe that order. So you see, when you go into a business, say for example, you went into Tesco's, right? And then you actually went in the aisle, you picked your items you want to purchase, and you get to the till. And at the till, the cashier, is actually just scanning your items through, right? Yes, it is just scanning the item through, but what is happening in the back end is that it is actually registering that transaction into one or more tables. One, it is going to register it to the sales table. In that case, it's going to register into the sales table. But then in the barcode which is actually being scanned, the product details is also there. So the product ID is also in that barcode, and also the cashier who is actually at the till, actually attending to you that time, that person will have logged in to the system to be able to do the transaction. So that ID is also there, and this is now linked back from there to the sales table. So in the sales table, they will have the date, the location where the store is, the employee that is actually performing that transaction for you, the product which you are buying, okay, and also the price and the number of the unit of that product you're buying. Okay, and some other information which I just want to get to. I just give you the bare basics there. So, and that is the table will look like, the sales table will look something like this. It might be different from this, but something like this. There's going to be that relationship back to other dimensions which I've just mentioned, and even more, depending on the business model. And then the business, what they want to do is, say for example, you are a club card holder for Tesco. At the end of their quarter or whatever, they send you a statement that this is what you have bought, this is what you have bought, and all the stuff like that. This is how they're going to get that information and put it into the correspondence they're sending to you. Okay, or let's take another example. Let's take the bank, for example. You are doing your transaction on your either you're doing it on your laptop or you're doing it from your mobile app for the bank. One, you have already logged in, so the app or whatever knows that it is you, and it goes to fetch your information. They already have your date of birth, you have your name, your address, your contact details, and everything, and some other information about you, which is stored in one or more tables, right? Now, your bank account, say for example, you have more than one account with them. You have a savings account, you have a current account, right? Whichever account you are actually making transaction from is identified as well. And then it goes into the transaction history. So you're moving money, you're transferring money from A to B is recorded in the transaction um, table. And the transaction table will now have your name, which is automatically brought in. There's some there's some things which has been done in the background. They're called triggers. So, for example, it triggers that okay, Yinka is actually in his savings account and is now transferred money from his savings account to his current account. It creates that history in the transaction table to say money minus from this to that and plus in the other one that is receiving it. Okay, and also let us take for example you're a student in university. They have in the university they have the system that runs the university for especially the academic side of the university. It has the student name, it has a student table, and then it has the courses this student is taking, and then it has the exam results table as well. But these ones also we have relationship to the student, to the courses, and all the stuff like that, which is something like this as well. Does that make sense, Constance?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
So sorry to cut in. I really thank God for the question that questions asked, but my only confusion is why you're the reason why you're typing it as 0 point
It's not zero, it's O.
0 point yeah.
You remember we talked I showed you about aliasing last week.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's the alias for the cause. The O is this.
Yeah.
I said others table, which is this is my others table, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
As O, I'm now assigning O as the name for my others table,
Okay.
right? And the reason, which is what I've just explained earlier, let me take this out. I should see wiggly lines now. You can see that saying it doesn't recognize it, right? Normally, if I'm not using aliasing, this is what I should do. And you see the wiggly lines are gone. This is the full qualification. You're saying, okay, because I said earlier, you are extracting data from more than one table.
Yeah.
The engine wants to know this column, orders ID, from which of the two tables am I getting it from?
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I have to tell it that, okay, from others table, go to others, I want order ID. From others table, give me the order date.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from customer table, give me the company name.
Okay.
Okay. But in some instances in real life, you may have a table name, which is like, let me see one that I did recently. Okay, I have a table name like expiring I have a table name like this, right? And now, if I joining this table to another table, let's say I needed the policy reference from this table. Policy ref. I need a policy reference from this table. This is how I have to write it out. And I have like one table I have now, or one query which I'm writing. I think I have about 112 columns. 112 columns. So for 112 columns, I have to write it out this way. One, it's time consuming. Two, it is cumbersome to read.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So the best way to do it for best practice is to now say this table, instead of me calling it when I'm referencing it in my from or in or join, right? Instead of having to call it that, I'll just call this table expiring policy North America. I can just say expiring policy NA, right? That covers the name. So anybody reading it, you go down and you see the table name, you say, okay, EPN or expiring policy North America. Or I can call it anything. I can even call it one. It's just a representation that instead of me having to write the full name, I'm just representing that name with this character or this these characters or numbers sometimes.
But that means that you have to like state it somewhere in your
This is where I'm stating it here.
Cool. Okay, get
This
you.
is where I'm stating it here.
Okay.
For the customer and for this one. I say as sorry. As
Sounds
you understand? So I've stated it there. And you can see because I've now appended, you can see that it's not got wiggly lines. Because why? I have told the engine that now this name is now being represented by this letter.
Okay, that's the alias.
Yes, that's my alias. So
alias.
Yes. So I just change that now, and then you see the wiggly line goes away. That goes away. Right? I can choose to call this one. Sorry. You see, the alias you give there's no principle around it. It's your call. I can call this one now. I can just make it this way so that it will take away the. So I have appended it as that way. You can see, right? So I cannot say. And then you can see. You can call it whatever you want. Okay? You can call it whatever you want. So does that make sense now?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So we're now saying, where's me? So I've done the inner join. Right, and then I've done the left join. And these are the two that I'm just going to go through. I don't want to bother you with the other ones. These are the two major ones you're going to be using 90% of the time or 95% of the time. Is either inner join or left join. And when you are using inner join is, okay, I only want where there is a match from both tables. That is when you use inner join. I don't want anything else. I only want where there is a match, period. Okay? And then you use the left join where you want all the records from one table. Say, for example, I want to know all my customers. Either they have made a purchase or not. And you know that if a customer you have a customer that is already registered but has not made a purchase, the customer ID will not be in the orders table. So what happened in that case is that I'll have all the list of all my customers, and then when it comes to the other side, it will be blank because there is no match for that customer in the orders table. There is no match for that customer in the orders table. And that is what we have here. These customers, they have not made any purchase. That is why they are blank here. For us to have an understanding, I can rename this one to say, just for identification, customer table. Okay. And this one, orders table. Okay. So you can see the orders table, the customer is not present. They have not made any purchase, these 4. The others, and this one as well, has not made any purchase. You can see.
Is there a way we can filter it to just go to like the ones that have not made any purchase?
I don't want to jump. I'm taking it step by step. You will see.
That's fine.
Okay.
Cheers. Thanks.
Okay. So you can see now. Right? And when, let me now come back to something. In what scenario do you, in business or work, do you use the left join? Say, for example, you're trying to find out your customers that have not made any purchase. Say, for example, there is the sales team or the marketing team come to you and say, look, I want a report of all the customers that we have that has not made a purchase in the last 6 months, for example.
Wow. This is how they target customers then.
Yes. Or I want a list of customers who has made X amount of purchase. Okay, let me give you an example which I worked on when I was working with a manufacturer. They have over 4,000 SKUs. SKUs is items which they produce and sell. And they have their top 10 retailers. They call them retailers. We buy the product for them and then they go to resell. So they call them their retailers. Okay, now their retailers actually do, the top 10 actually does about 80% of their business, but they want to help the other 20, the other retailers, which are just about 98% of their retailers that are actually doing very little compared to what these top 10 are doing. This data do not exist. The data that exists is just the data of what the retailers are doing. I mean, their purchases. So what I had to do was now to create a process that looks at all the products that these top retailers, these top 10 does, all the products they sell. They are, and more so, not just all the products they say, they are top 10 products as well. And then I take that data and now go and now create the other 20% of their retailers that are doing low and see if any of them are actually selling any of these top 10 products that the top 10 are selling. And we found out that 99% of them, of the 20%, are not selling these top 10 products. So what the marketing team have to do was just to take them, look, why are you not selling this product? Our top 10 retailers, this is the product they sell. So what is stopping you? And that is how you see when they begin to come to approach you for stuff like that, it's coming from the data. And these are the kind of things you as a data analyst or an engineer will have to work on.
Sorry, I want to ask a very intriguing question. How do I find this kind of data to practice on ChatGPT or anywhere?
You can go to GitHub.
Okay,
GitHub has a bit of different data to play with.
like marketing data.
Yeah,
How do they type it?
you can just say you will not get it as marketing data. It has to be a business data, really. But there are quite a few free databases out there, like this one we're working with, Northwind. You have the Worldwide Trader as well.
Worldwide Traders. Okay.
Yeah, you have the Worldwide Trader, which is a Microsoft one as well. You have Contoso data as well.
Contoso.
Yes, which is also Microsoft, and you also have AdventureWorks, which is also Microsoft.
Okay.
Okay. And then you'll find some other, most of the time you don't find UK data, you find most of the time American data. So you can find even the traffic data, you can find the weather data for America and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So now we can see this. And if I now want to carry on with this data, like I said, I want to know the customers that have not made any purchase. Okay. And that is where now, with this, I can now bring in a filter to this data. I can bring in a filter to this data, and I'll now say where. Oh, sorry. What has happened? Okay. I think I'm good. Okay. And then I can now say where. Now I can choose because I know on the other side is where I want to see, right? I can now say no, that's this one. I'll copy. And you can see I can now say where is equal to null. That is not present. Okay. So meaning that it's not just null, the value is not stored, it's stored as null. Yes, it's stored, you're seeing it as null, but it's blank in the database.
Sorry, sir, somebody is waiting to come in.
I can't see anybody. I can't see anybody. Nothing is showing on my side here. I can't see anybody. Okay. So why is it now not working? Let me see. Why am I having
Do we need
my
to
work?
asterisk between it?
No, it's not. It's not asterisk. No,
Sorry.
that's the other bit which I've not shown you is this is not equal to no. Let me see. I'll find out what it is now. What is this one? Copy. What are you telling me? Null. Yeah, so it's null. Okay, and these are the customers. You see, we even have 7. So I have 7, and I can write a report on this one now. Or the heads up. And then the ones that have, I can now expand on this. The one that's, let me take the where close out. I want to create 2 reports. The ones that have made purchases, the one that have not made purchases. Okay, so let's now write a proper SQL join statement query. Yeah, I have one here. Okay, so here I'm saying, give me the customer ID give me the order date, give me the customer name, which is company name, and then give me the shipper name. The shipper name is also named in the shipper's table is called company name, but I want it to be named shipper name here. And I want the customer, the employee here that actually served this transaction. And then I want the ship date and I want the order date, I want the freight, I want the company. So you can see I'm joining onto three tables. I'm joining 3 tables together. In fact, 4 tables together, which is I'm coming from the orders table and I'm now joining to the customers, and I'm also joining to the shippers, and I'm also joining to. But if you notice something here, I am joining this customer to the orders table. I'm joining back here. And I'm also joining the shipper to the orders table. And I'm also joining the employee to the orders table. Why do you think that is? Can anybody tell me why?
Because of the relationship.
Thank you.
Primary key and then the foreign key.
Yes, because all the three tables, which is the customer, the shipper, and the employees, do not have direct relationship with themselves. They only have relationship with the orders table. And if you come back in here, sorry, why do I have 2? I want 1. So you can see this is the relationship back to the customer. This is the relationship back to the employee. And this is my other, and this is the relationship back to the shipper. Okay, so now I want this information. So I want the shipper and everything. I want the name. Now you have the keys, but actually want their names rather than the keys. I don't want to see the keys. I want their names. So, and the other information about these tables, entities, is actually stored in their individual tables. Like the company name here is stored in the customer table. The company name for the shipper is also stored in the shipper's table. And the name for the employee is also stored in the employee table. Here, I only have the ID for the employee. And then the ID for the customer, and then the ID for the shipper as well. So, and now, yes, Olushola, you raised up your hand?
Yes, sir. Please, this relationship issue just answer now. Please, can you please go over it again? I didn't really get it. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me step back one bit. Let's use School of Mentoring as an example. What does School of Mentoring do?
Like teaching and passing knowledge.
We're teaching, we're training. Okay.
Training, yeah.
Who do we train? Who do we train?
You have trained different people. People who want to go into maybe data engineering.
Okay, but
business analysis.
forget about where they're going. Who do we train?
Students.
Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah.
We train students. And then, in what do we train them?
You have 3 major courses you train them.
Okay. So, let me now come here to explain how this comes about. What is the business case for School of Mentoring? Is that first of all, we're a school.
Yes.
We're a school.
Yes.
We're a school where, sorry, we train people in IT related courses. Right?
Yes.
This is, if we say what's our business case, this is our business case. But now, let's now take that business case, let's begin to tear it down. Okay? So
Okay,
for School of Mentoring to be School of Mentoring, right? We'll have students. I should put it down. What are the entities that make School of Mentoring? We have students. Come on. Students.
Yes, sir.
And we have courses.
Yes.
And we have mentors or trainers. Right?
Yes, sir.
And we have timetable.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, who is a student in School of Mentoring?
Someone who has officially registered for one of the courses.
Good. That person has registered for one of the courses. So meaning that a student will take one and only one course. Why am I spelling this way? Right?
Yes, sir.
A course, let me change this, a course will be taken by one or more students. And a course, a mentor will teach one and only one course.
Okay.
And a timetable will include one or more course schedule. This is our use case. If you come across in the industry and say use case, what is the use case? This is our use case. So meaning that for School of Mentoring to be School of Mentoring, we must have at least one student.
Yes.
We must have at least one mentor. We must have at least one course. Okay?
Okay, sir.
And you see the places where I've said one and only one. That is business rule. Our business rule is that you as a student, you can only take one course per session. You cannot take more than one. And that is why that word, one and only one. And you see, we have courses, we say a course will be taken by one or more students. So meaning that a minimum of one student is required to take data engineering class, which we are in, or many students like we currently have. Okay, then you can see there now, so you can see our cost is one or many. already, one or many students. And then our mentor can only teach one course and one course alone. And then you can see our timetable, we have one or many course scheduled time on it. So in this case, we're going to have School of Mentoring, we're going to have this table. We have mentors table. We will have student table. We will have courses or course, yeah. And then we'll have our timetable. When we are developing or we're designing this data, the database for School of Mentoring, this has to be taken into account. So in the case where we said a mentor can only do what? One course. So a mentor to course, right, will be a one-to-one relationship. Are you getting it? Let me see if I can use the clipboard. Just give me 1 sec. Where's the clipboard? Find the clipboard. Where's the whiteboard? Oh, I missed that bit. I can't find it here. Okay, I can't find the whiteboard. I need the whiteboard. I can't find it straight away. No, I can't find the whiteboard. Okay, let me see if I can write it. Okay, yeah, good. I can write it. So here I will have the School of Mentoring, and my timetable will be in the middle, because that's the main thing. I'll call this TS, timetable, or timetable, yeah, TT. But a timetable, I'm drawing what is called the entity relationship diagram now. Come across it. So I have this as my mentors, right? And then I have the courses. I have my courses here. I have this as my course. And then here I have my students as S. And then here I even have my calendar dates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, how do we link everybody together? They're all separate entities. A mentor will take one and only one, we only take one or only one, what's it called, schedule on the timetable. And the timetable, we have
A date.
So how many courses can we take in a 1 day in School of Mentoring? 3, isn't it? So
yes,
a date, and then here we have 3. So 3 courses will appear on the timetable for a particular day, isn't it 3? So meaning that this is the many side, and we represent it by the star. We represent many by the star, and this is 1. So when we're explaining this, it says this is a 1 double dot many, right? When we get to Power BI, when we're joining two tables together, you see that sign, right? So it's 1 to many, meaning that a date we have one of 3 courses taken on the timetable that day, and then a course will appear how many times on the timetable?
For the day? Is it for the day alone?
For the day,
A cost will appear once.
1.
1. So this will be 1 to 1. Okay? A cost on the time schedule is 1 per date.
This.
Okay? And its mentor will take 1 and only 1. In fact, one or it's a 1 or 0.
Yes.
Because why? Like today, I'm taking the class. Jide is not taking the class, and Jide is a mentor in this class. So it's a 1 or 0 to 1 here. Is it making sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, a student will do what?
We take one course.
A student will take,
One course.
okay? And then,
Out of the 3 available on the timetable.
yes, a student can only
Yes.
take 1 because, so, but then a student will take 1 and 1, right? But it is more than 1 student that will be taking the course.
Yes, sir.
So it's a 1 or many.
Yes, that's many.
1 or many students will take 1 course, right? On a date, on a schedule. If you understand what I'm saying there.
Yes.
Okay. So now you can see here is a many side. This here is a many side.
That's
This
right.
one is a one side. This one is a one side. This one is also a one side, but this one is a
One side.
many side. So what we can do here is we can break this down again. Because we want everything to be more like, okay, no, we don't even need to break this down because it's not many. If this side were to be another many, then we can break it down. Okay, so now if you now look at I'll take you back to our database now. If we now look at our database, which is our orders table, that is why you see the orders table. Orders table is the table in the middle here, right? And all these ones have relationship to it. And that is why here, I have to stop this. That is why here you see the customer ID, the employee ID, even the dates, which relates back to the date, and also the shipper.
Okay.
That's the relationship we have with it. But you can see here, a customer can place 1 or many orders. So this is the many side. If I look at it now, if I want, I can look at where I can do a select for. Okay, let's look at, we already have that. Let's look at this customer. You can see that this customer has placed many orders. Oh, sorry. Okay, this one did not work. Let's look for another customer. Let's take this customer. Oops. You can see this customer has placed many orders.
Yes.
But not on the same date. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But this customer, nothing stopped this customer from placing many orders in one day. Because you remember, you can make bank withdrawals as many times as possible in a day if you have not reached your withdrawal limit.
Limit. Yes.
You can take 20 pounds now. Oh, I still need money. Okay, you go back. You take another 50 pounds.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
So you
Yes.
will yes, that is. And then if you go to the withdrawal table in the database, you will see how many times you have made a withdrawal in a day. And you may not even withdraw at all in a day. So that is where that's the relationship, we call it the entity relationship, which you will not see. But I will send you materials for you to read on entity relationship. on primary key and foreign key. That's right.
Thank you, sir.
So does this make sense now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How do I take this out? No, don't save it. Away. It's not going away. Okay. I'll just have to come on. I've deleted that. Should have gone away.
Can't it erase?
Yeah, I'm looking for
Erase something to erase it.
It's not going to. Come in. Let's erase. Okay. All right. So now we are. Sorry, I need to take the annotate out. If not, it will be disturbing us. Come on. Okay. So we are now wanting to see a combination of all the 4 tables together. And we're using the inner join. And this is what we have. You can see the customer we're not bringing out the customer ID now, we're bringing out the customer name. We're bringing out the shipper's name, and we're bringing out the employee name. And we're bringing out the ship date and the required date, and then the freight. But this is only showing us the freight. I want to expand on this a little bit. And that's why I'm going to end for today. And I want to see the cost of all the goods that were bought from each of these customers are bought. And I'm joining to another table. And this time, my other table is the order details table, which is OD. And order details is where we have that information stored. And you can see my orders details table. It has the order ID, which is linking back to this. And then this is also linking back to the products table. And I have the unit price, I have the discount. And here I will now say I want the costs. Okay, let me bring in the unit price first. And then I want
total cost.
I want the total cost. And how do I get the total cost? Can anybody tell me? Because you can see I don't have the cost.
Number of units sold times
unit price. Unit price.
Times unit price.
Thank you.
That's the
So
price.
I have that as unit price multiplied by OD
Quantity.
and
Order.
quantity. Okay, and I'm now joining back inner join. Other details. OD on OD. Order ID equals order ID. And this one, I can now rename it as what is this now? Sale amount. Okay. And execute that. And you can see the sale amount. And that's the unit cost for. Okay, I can even bring the unit number here as well. Okay, OD versus the quantity. I want to see the quantity that we sold. What did I do? Okay, sorry. And then you can see the quantity, multiply this by this will give you this. But you know one thing here, we can see something, you have a discount there. So, meaning that this is the amount which they are supposed to pay, but sometimes they get a discount. So for us to know the true value which they have gotten, we have to apply the discount. How do you think we're going to apply the discount?
The discount will be subtracted from the sales amount.
Sales, yeah.
Okay, let's look at what the discount looks like. Let's bring in discount in here and look at what it looks like. And you can see the discount. So how is this discount recorded?
This is per quantity.
Yes, it's per quantity, but how is it recorded?
It's just an integer.
It is
I think it's
integer,
recorded
yes.
based on the price.
It is recorded based on the
value.
price, yes, no. What I want to hear is you're not giving me yet.
Maybe we don't understand the question very well.
The discount.
Yes.
What discount? How is the discount applied? How is it recorded here?
I think based on the dates, it was.
No, it's not what I'm expecting.
I think it's a percentage of.
Thank you very much. It is a percentage. You see where you see 0.15. It is not 0.15 because percentage is in 100, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
So it will be recorded as 0.15. That is 15%.
Okay.
So for me to get if it's 15%, all I have to do is just multiply it by 100, and then it will give me 15%. So now I want to see my sale here. This one is got, so this amount is not the correct amount the customer paid. It is less 15% of this amount. So, which is going to be my total. I call this my total cost, and then I call this one, my discounted amount. Discounted sale amount. Okay. So I have that as discounted sales amount. And for me to do that, that's my sales amount. And I now need to do something. I'm now going to multiply it by, what do I do there? Multiply it by what? Can somebody tell me? Multiply it by what?
By the discount code?
By the discount amount, by the discount percentage.
Yeah.
But because it is a percentage, I have to convert it back. It's recorded here in 2 decimal places as a fraction. It's recorded here as a fraction of 100. So if I do multiply by the discount, it's only going to give me 15%. Let's do it. Let's see. Multiply by OD dot discount. Okay.
Oh, carries 2 minutes.
So look at that now. This is 15%. This is 15% of this. But that's not what it. Sorry, can you mute yourself? This is 15% of this. And that's not what we want. We want 85% of this, which is 100 minus 15 will give us 85. So we want 85% of this. Though we can do with this as well. Okay, so for us to get that, let's do another one. and I'll now call it actual sale amount, right? But I will not do it this way, which is, I said this is in fraction. So 100 is 1, and we have it in fraction minus that. So we are subtracting the discount, which is 0.15 from 1. And then you can see now, that's the 85. So if you add these two together, you will get this back. Is it clear? Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible to just apply the reverse percentage on?
How do you mean?
Like instead of finding the 15%, you just multiply the sale amount by 0.85.
Yeah, but how do you? But because you know, for one, you are looking at hundreds of records, rows. Do you want to go back and start putting 0.8 for each of them? You are letting these, you are calculating this on the fly, and that is what we're doing here.
Okay.
That's what we're doing here. So
Okay,
this, when I do this, if I take this out, let me take this out, and you see that it's going to give what it's going to give us.
Sir, before you continue, sir, I missed this step because I relog into another device. My
You will watch
laptop
it. You will watch it on the video.
All right, sir.
Yeah. All right. Okay, you can see here. It's on the calculation for us. And that's what we're applying. So this is here already. So it's multiplying it by that for us. You don't have to, because when you're talking about millions of rows, records, do you want to go back and start doing that? No, you have to automate it. This is just a bit of automating the calculation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'm just sorry. I'm sorry to bring you back. You see the bits where you done 1 minus the quantity of the other discounts. I'm just curious why we have 1 there.
I said the other discount. The discount is in fraction.
Okay, I get you now. Cool. Cheers. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
So what you're saying is that we can multiply. I can use this column to still find the same answer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's what I've done here. I just copied it from here. That's what I've done here.
Okay.
Right? I'm multiplying these out, and that's what gives us that.
Yeah. So one needs to know a bit of maths to be good in this,
Yeah,
isn't it?
just a little bit. Elementary.
A little bit of maths, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Elementary. Right. Okay. Any other questions? This is where I'm going to stop for today.
Okay. Is it possible to remove it and leave it the way it was so that people will not get confused? To remove the 1 minus discount. Yeah.
Okay.
So is this intermediate level that you're teaching us now? Is this no more beginner? This is more like
this is still beginner.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay.
If you want intermediate level, next time I will show you some beats.
We never grab this one first.
Yeah.
Let
me show you something. Quick one.
Let's leave it at the beginning part first.
Let me give you a flash. If you want to see, this is not even advanced. Well, it's a bit, but sorry. Let me show you some of my things. Okay. Trade indicators. Let's look at this one.
As well.
Look at what I've done here.
Go away, pause.
Can you see this?
Amen.
Yes. Yes.
Can you see this?
Is that stock
Jesus
procedures?
Christ.
Yeah, this is a stop proc, but this is a CTE within a stop procedure. I just wrapped this CTE, which is, sorry, can you mute yourself? I have a baby making noise. Yeah. A CTE, which is common table expression,
Yeah.
and then wrapped it up in a stop procedure. Okay. And you can
Yeah.
see you can see what I'm doing there. Log, you see. And this is still nothing.
Are you
This is still
No wonder the thing is doing me somehow.
But it is one thing, let me tell you something. This is very interesting if you get a hang of it. It's very interesting. Okay, let me show you what this has done now. Let me show you the work I'm doing on this one in Power BI. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
This is the data you're looking at there.
Wow.
Okay. You can see this is the data you're looking at there.
Wow.
That's it. This is it. Okay. So if you see, if you enjoy playing with data, you will like this. Yes, if you enjoy building stuff, you will like this. Okay. Look at another one which I've built.
Please.
Look at another one.
Yeah.
Look at another one. Quite a few things which I've hidden here. Okay. And then you can see different things. Right. So
it's expert level.
This must be the expert level. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I will have to leave you here.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I will
Thank
not
you so
be
much.
there to. No worries.
Thank
I
you
will
very
not
much,
be there
sir.
to send this as quickly as possible so you guys can start.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
sir.
so much,
Thank you
sir.
so much,
All
sir.
right.
Thank
God
you
bless
so
you.
much.
God bless
Enjoy your
you.
weekend.
Well,
All right.
and you too, sir.
All right. Yeah.
Enjoy
Bye.
your weekend.
Bye,
Bye.
sir.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you.